This week you will read the article Bridge the Digital Divide for Educational Equity. Again, you will make one post using this voice thread. Any way that you want to post, whether you use text or whether you want to record your voice, is just fine. I look forward to reading your thoughts and hope that you enjoy learning from one another.
As I read this article from a 2005 issue of Principal, I found that in some regards there has been change for the better in recent years, and in others we aren't any further ahead now than we were 5 years ago. At the time the article was written, the digital divide was said to be widening, but a recent Pew report concludes that the divide, which is based primarily on ethnicity and socioeconomic status, is narrowing. While the article cites schools as the primary source of access for those students without a computer at home, I see libraries as another option. Just like schools, libraries receive federal funding to support access to technology for their patrons. I'm a frequent visitor to my local library, and the computers seem always to be heavily used by individuals that represent a variety of demographic groups. Where students may use computers at school during school hours, access would likely be limited in the evening and on weekends, and libraries provide a great alternative. The article states that students with disabilities, quote, cannot participate in online activity because the equipment in their schools is not compatible with their learning or physical needs, end quote. This is an area in which great strides have been made in recent years. With the Electronic and Information Technology Accessibility Standards, Section 508 of the Rehabilitation Act, in place, access to content is becoming easier and easier for individuals with disabilities. Though special hardware is available, something as easy as using the Firefox browser and its many accessibility features is freely available. The point made in the article that, quote, failure to provide adequate technological resources for all translates to failure to provide quality education, end quote, continues to be an issue for less affluent school districts. With educational funding so closely tied to property taxes, it's inevitable that disparities will exist, and technology is but one of the divides that must be dealt with. The cost-effective alternatives mentioned in the article, wireless networks and portable technologies, have improved in the 5 years since this article was written. With the advent of low-cost netbooks, families no longer need expensive desktop computers, and with electronic submission, they can avoid the expense of printers, paper, and ink. Written for school principals, this article states that, quote, technology inequities ultimately rest with the principals in their role as instructional leaders, end quote. But I don't know that I necessarily agree with that statement. I believe that principals can be visionary leaders that enable schools to make the best use of available resources, but levels of funding seem to be based on federal funding, property values, and tax rates, district-level pursuit of stimulus monies and grant monies. In my district, all of that is out of the principal's hands. There is much that principals can do to lessen the inequalities, but for widespread change to occur, I think that education funding must address the vast differences in resources, all resources, not just technology, available to our schools.